So, can anything significant come out of this high-stakes meeting between President Biden and China's President Xi? Let's ask Derek Scissors, Asia economist at the American Enterprise Institute. Derek, any hopes here for things getting better, or just maybe the fact that they're talking means things might not get worse?
Yeah, I think that might not get worse is probably the biggest hope. I don't know that things should get better. Xi Jinping has been in charge of the Communist Party for 11 years now. I don't think his behavior is going to change. I think the problems the U.S. has with China are going to continue, and therefore you're not looking for some big improvement in relationships. You're looking to put a floor under the relationship. The one possible exception is a deal over fentanyl. It's been discussed, at least here in Washington, for the past few weeks. There would be problems implementing that deal and enforcement of that deal, but that is something that could be announced, and we could hope for enforcement on the Chinese side in 2024.
Not to take this too far afield, but that's really interesting. And do you think it could actually do something to significantly change the kind of arrival of fentanyl in this country?
Well, we know, there's a lot of uncertainty here, but we know that fentanyl precursor production is dominated by China. This is globally. We know that fentanyl is arriving in the U.S. from Mexico, and that there are links between Chinese producers and then Mexican buyers of those precursors. So if China were motivated to really crack down, which of course it is capable of doing in a wide range of areas, crackdowns are kind of a Chinese specialty under Xi Jinping. If it's motivated to crack down on that precursor production, then it would matter. The problem is that China makes agreements with the contingency that they don't say, which is unless you're mean to us, unless you're too critical of us. So if the U.S. is critical of China in 2024 during the election campaign, say, then you wouldn't see that Chinese motivation. The potential is there, but probably we should expect some sort of agreement to be announced and then it not to work very well.
That's a great point, Derek. Let me also ask you about something that Anya Manuel last hour said she would take as a sign of a big breakthrough. Wasn't saying it was going to happen, but if it did, and that was kind of the re-engagement of military talks between both sides that have been suspended since Pelosi's visit over there. How likely would that be, either from this summit or at all in the near future?
I think that's possible. The whole Biden administration pitch this year, and Eunice talked about it and you guys talked about it a second ago, is to try to improve communication between the U.S. and China. Now, what they won't say, the Biden administration isn't going to say this, is they're worried that Xi Jinping is isolated in terms of information, that he's not being told things about the world that he needs to know because basically everyone's afraid of him. He puts people in power and then they disappear a few months later. This has happened repeatedly this year. So it's a genuine U.S. concern that we need to try to communicate with Xi instead of going through underlings who may or may not tell him what's going on. We communicated that to the Chinese. They're at least having this meeting. So there's a chance that more direct military communications will come out of it. It's certainly a goal of the administration within the broader goal of we need to be able to get to Xi Jinping himself and not people that we're not sure are going to tell him what's going on.
Derek, how important, even from an economic perspective, is this Mideast conflict, this war going on, and these two leaders talking at this point about perhaps improving communication?
Well, I mean, the Mideast conflict obviously has a lot of really important dimensions. I don't know that it matters very much for the U.S. It potentially matters more for China because they're much more oil and gas dependent than the U.S. is in terms of imports. I don't think right now they see a major threat, but they do see a problem there. I think what they'd like is for the U.S. to say, we'll take care of it somehow. They don't want to be directly involved. They want us to do it, us to protect their access to oil. So that's their hope. I don't think something like that is going to come out of the summit. I think that's very difficult cooperation for the two countries. So I think that, what's going to happen in the Middle East and its many dimensions, the econ dimension, the economic dimension for China is going to continue to be something that they have to worry about.